Alright my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I want to talk to you guys about PC gaming versus the PlayStation 5 Pro. So guys, I've had this thing for almost 2 weeks now, and I gotta tell you, I've been very impressed with the PlayStation 5 Pro. I currently have an AMD 7900 XTX with a 7800 X3D. Clearly my PC is significantly better than the overall PlayStation 5 experience, but here's the thing, and I remember saying this before it kind of came out, that if you were to put the PlayStation 5 Pro and say a 7800 XT or a 4070 Super on the same 1440p monitor, you're not going to be able to tell a difference. Like, these things look so close, and the performance so far with most of the games that I've played on the PlayStation 5 Pro has been pretty good. Like today, the Callisto Protocol PlayStation 5 Pro patch came out, and it does an 8K mode at 30 frames per second. But when you put it on that mode on a regular 4K, it will upscale to 6K, but then downsample back to 4K at 30 frames per second, giving you the ability to actually play that game with downsampled visuals. And when you look at that and you see that on a 4K display, it is absolutely pixel freaking perfect. It looks damn good. I've been able to run games at like 6K, 8K on my 7900 XTX, and then when you downsample to 4K or something, the image quality looks incredible. And people always ask me like, Frog, why don't you just go with Nvidia? And I'm like, look guys, I love the fact that I can upscale with virtual super resolution. Like I can run my games at 8K. Then I can turn on like FSR or something like that. Then I can downsample to 3440 by 1440p or 1440p or even 4K, and the image quality that you get from downsampling gets rid of all the jaggies, gets rid of all the freaking, everything that everybody complains about with like FSR or all these other technologies. Like they're completely gone. Like you don't get any of that. You just get this pixel perfect image on a 1440p monitor that just looks incredible. When you downsample from higher resolutions, you get that, it's almost like you get this significantly better AA option, like it just looks incredible. Like everything looks perfect. It looks pixel perfect. It looks nice. It looks dense. It just looks incredible. And the fact that you can do some of that with a PS5 Pro right now, I encourage you, if you have a PS5 Pro and you have one of these games like Callisto Protocol that will allow you to run at 6K and downsample to your 4K display, I absolutely encourage you to try that. Give it a try and see what it looks like to you, and then you'll kind of understand a little bit better of what I like to experience on my PC. Now, I do currently have the top of the line AMD GPU, and it's not necessary, but it is kind of necessary for me to be able to run at higher resolutions, downsample, and still be able to get a more than playable frame rate. I like to be anywhere in between like 75 to 100 frames on a lot of the games I play. And so most of the time I can easily hit 4K 60 and downsample to 3440 or 1440p or whatever. So usually I can hit that 4K and then still take advantage of that and still get, over 60 FPS without using upscaling. But then when I do flip on upscaling, then I can push that frame rate even higher. With AMD, you can absolutely turn on things like AFMF and generate more frames to actually give you even a smoother experience. And there's like games out there that I'll be able to push like 240 ultra wide using that at 3440 or at 3840 1620p and still be able to hit like super high frame rates, and the image quality is just incredible, and it's butter smooth. The higher the frame rate you got, actually the clearer the overall visuals look too. Like that actually does help with the overall visual clarity and quality, just having a higher frame rate. Most of the time it looks absolutely incredible. So when I think about the future of what PS5 Pro has to offer and the the overall experience that it delivers right now with PSSR, and knowing that this technology is going to continue to improve as time goes on, as they continue to update it, they feed it new algorithms, stuff like that. PlayStation's PSSR is going to continue to get better. It is going to continue to be more optimized. Like right now, most of the games that are receiving PSSR were created before PSSR was a thing. So this is being backported to these games. So none of these games are necessarily optimized for PSSR, pretty much is what you can tell. And this is my takeaway from it is, you know, studios like Naughty Dog or gosh dang it, Insomniac or some of these other, you know, like Sony Santa Monica, is what they're doing is they're taking their already built game that has, you know, like a performance mode. And is what they're doing is they're actually just putting on PSSR on top of that to see how it runs. You know, I bet they're probably testing it right now, seeing like, okay, so how much headroom do we have? What is this actually going to entail? Like right now, it's like a research, and you know, it's like a R&D right now. They're going through an R&D process with the games that they're already built. They're putting this on there. They're seeing how it turns out. Obviously, games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, or not Jedi Survivor, Jedi Survivor, and you know, some of these other games that are running sub 1080p, obviously, even if you're using any other upscaler, it is really hard to upscale from sub 1080p up to any other resolution. Even on, like, you can put like, I mean, you can put like my thing, like on my GPU, my 7900 XTX, in order to use path tracing, I literally have to go to ultra performance at like 4K, and that downsamples like so far to, I mean, like literally, like if I'm doing 1080p, if I'm running it 1080p and I'm using ultra performance, I'm like 480p, and I mean, it looks okay. Like it's, I mean, you could play the game and you get a good frame rate and stuff like that, but it doesn't look anywhere near as good as what anything else is gonna look, because you are taking that resolution so low that trying to have PSSR or FSR or anything upscale that back to a higher resolution, it just takes a lot more work, and it just never, it doesn't resolve really fine detail and stuff like that, like you would want it to. So when you're thinking about these games that are like Unreal Engine 5 and stuff like that, if they're running sub 1080p, then it's probably not going to look that great. But here's the thing, guys. Here's the kicker. Like I said, they're doing R&D right now for PS5 Pro, for PSSR, backporting it to games that are already out. Now, when they start building games with PSSR in mind, that will give them a much wider a much wider idea of how they can optimize better to put more things into these games to get you that performance that you actually need. Now, the other day I was listening to a podcast from Broken Silicon. He had an NX Gamer on there, and they were talking about like the overall way that like the PlayStation CPU runs versus how it would run on a PC atmosphere. And I mean, it kind of made sense to me the way the NX Gamer was talking about that. He was talking about, like, you know, on a traditional PC, you have all kinds of different things. You have different types of RAM. You know, you've got GPU that has VRAM. You've got like regular RAM that runs through your system and all of that stuff, and you just have this inefficiency all throughout your PC. Now, no matter what you build, like, you just have these inefficiencies that are just not present on the consoles. That's why you can, you know, you get higher optimized games. You know, like if you're playing, like say you're on a PC and you're always getting these constant stutters that everybody complains about. Well, over on like the consoles, you're not getting these stutters. You're not getting the traversal study or any of this stuff, because the games are just better optimized in that package a lot better. So yes, technically you can optimize things a little bit better on the console side, but you also leave that scalability for yourself and being able to pick and choose and do what you want to do on there to adjust your settings and stuff, because you're pretty much trading that for an optimized experience. And once you start seeing these games that are truly optimized with PSSR, like we've never had this before. Like DLSS is good, but it's a one size fits all type thing for Nvidia GPUs, and it's made for games that are just made for everything. And so when you actually take like this technology and you put it in the hands of somebody like PlayStation that builds hardware and builds games for said hardware, you're going to have such a better synergy with how they're able to create algorithms for their own games, from their own hardware, from their own expertise. I think you're going to see PSSR outperform DLSS pretty quickly, at least on first-party software. I think that you're going to get to a point, I mean, this is their first outing, and it's like already kind of indistinguishable between what PSSR and DLSS can do. I mean, I guess if you're Alex Battaglia and you got time to zoom in 400% and look at like every little imperfection, you can find them, but to the naked eye, to somebody that's not zooming in 400%, I guarantee you, my friends, it's gonna be a little bit tough to find a difference, because I was playing Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart at 4K with ray tracing, and I'm looking at that game and I'm like, whoa, man, Digital Foundry's gonna have a really hard time explaining this away. And yeah, dude, most people are gonna look at that and they're gonna be like, what the heck is Digital Foundry talking about? Like, seriously, the stuff that they're pointing out, like, you're barely gonna notice this stuff while you're in game playing. Even if you stop and dawdle like I do and look around, it was still hard for me to pick out imperfections in that overall picture quality. I mean, even on Spider-Man 2, yeah, you can see it every once in a while. Like, you'll see, like, in the distance, you'll see, like, some shimmering or something like that. But it's like, wow, this looks very good. This looks very good. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this and I'm playing this and I'm just absorbing the experience, my friends. Like, I spent $700 on this because I want to experience it. And I want to be open, and I want to be transparent, and I want to be honest with everybody about it. Yes, obviously I could have spent $700 and spent the next month bashing the PS5 Pro. But what's that going to get me? I mean, seriously, what does that do for anybody? It doesn't do anything for gaming. It doesn't do anything for hardware. It doesn't do anything. So I'll be honest and talk about the things that I like. And then a little bit later, guys, once we get, a little bit further into this, I'll start coming up with the stuff that obviously, bugs me and stuff like that, because there are a few things that are starting to creep up. It's not nothing big yet, nothing worth making a video on just yet. But there are some things that are like starting to like tug at me, a little bit. Like, and it's mostly from before. Like, the one big thing that really is starting to like irritate me the most is, like, I have so many games from PS4 that I'd beat and played back then. Like, I was trying to get into Assassin's Creed Syndicate today, and man, I guess a while back I had loaded it up on my PlayStation and forgot to download my save and started a new game and completely deleted so many saves on so many games. That is a big thing for me. That is starting to make me mad, but I'm glad that there's a pop-up finally. When I go to download a game, it's starting to tell me. So yes, there are things that are still kind of bugging me about PlayStation and their ecosystem, but it's not even that big of a deal. It's not even that big of a deal. Like, it is a big deal, but it's not a big deal. Like, I'll move forward. I'll get over it, fine, whatever. But, like right now, talking about the good things, the positive things about PlayStation 5 Pro, and like really looking at what PSSR is going to do and the possibilities of what it's going to do on the AMD GPUs, how it's going to perform on other GPUs that have the ability to run AI upscaling. That's good, because Nvidia cards are going to be able to run FSR4. Intel cards are going to be able to run FSR4. AMD cards are going to be able to run FSR4. So it's open source. Like, it'll be able to be run on multiple different GPUs. So we're going to be able to see, a lot. And that, my friends, is very cool. But like I said just a minute ago, I know that you've got, like, seriously, you've got everybody running wild, trying to hold up DLSS and put it on their shoulders and be like, this is the best. I bet Sony's developers, with Sony's hardware, on Sony's own system, with Sony's own algorithms, with Sony's first-party games, I guarantee you that their PSSR is probably going to outperform DLSS either by the end of this generation, or PS6 is going to eat Nvidia's lunch, bro. Eat Nvidia's lunch, and they've got the upper hand because they've got the software, they've got the hardware, they've got the algorithms, and they got the hardware to be able to actually build that on there. So yeah, guys, this is going to be an interesting thing to watch as PSSR blows past DLSS in Sony first-party games. It might not always look that good on the third-party games, but I guarantee it, Sony first-party games are going to have a better upscaling solution than Nvidia. So tell me what you think about that, Nvidia bros. Let me know if you guys think the PlayStation, like, we already know the PlayStation literally makes the best looking games on the market to date. Like, they do. And like, you really gonna try to argue that they don't? The amazing stuff that they could pull off on like a PS4, when you look back at that and you're like, wow, man, that console was super weak. And then you look at what they can pull off with like checkerboard rendering and just how incredible those games looked on a 4 teraflop PS4 Pro on a 4K TV that looked incredible. And then you move forward and you start, oh yeah, you see what I mean, guys? You see what I mean? PlayStation, Mark Cerny, boom. I think they got this in the bag, bro. And they are showing that PlayStation and Nvidia, or PlayStation and AMD, like PlayStation out there showing you guys, like right now, the AMD could 100% be compatible with the AI and the upscaling and all of that stuff. It's just, gosh dang, man, they need the manpower. They need some money, guys. They need some money. So, all right, guys, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.